Hello, this is Barb Termaat with Newton's Road. We are excited to be here today in the Elk Rapids Beaches area where we're going to be learning about environmental careers. We have with us today people from the Watershed Center and the Elk Rapids High School Eco Club.
Hi, Christine Crispin. I'm the Executive Director of the Watershed Center Grand Traverse Bay.
Hi, I'm Mary Halleck. I'm the President of Eco Club.
And I'm Adrienne Neuker, the Vice President. Okay, so can you please explain what working for the Watershed entails?
So the mission of the Watershed Center is to advocate for clean water and basically try to protect what we've got as a great natural resource. So our work, we do on the ground projects where we're, like right behind us is this bioswale where we're basically trying to keep stormwater out of the bay. We do a lot of those kinds of projects, but then we also do sort of policy work as well. So we're trying to help people make good decisions around clean water. So set up ordinances and policies and things that help us think into the future. What do we want to be doing so that water can be protected into the future?
What inspired you to follow this career pathway?
You know, career paths I think are rarely ever straight. Mine definitely was not straight. I really had a passion for water. I always grew up around water. A lot of that stuff sort of came with my family and experiences and things that I had. And it took me a while to find, to take jobs where I was not with the water and recognize that's something that I really wanted to do. So it's one of those things where I took a lot of turns, but now that I'm here, I love it. And I really think that, having that passion for what you do is super important. And I definitely have that passion about protecting water.
So how do you make a difference in this career?
I think there's so many levels of making differences, right? So protecting water can be anything from turning off the faucet when you're brushing your teeth to, really, really big projects, $1 million projects to try to protect, keep stormwater out of the bay, and anything in between. So I think it's really important for folks to recognize that, it's the things that we do in our day-to-day lives. Then there's groups that go above and beyond and help, you can help those groups in the way that you can, but really it's everybody's responsibility. I mean, we all get to enjoy the water. The water belongs to everybody, and so it's really everybody's responsibility to protect it.
What are some local paths that kind of can lead back to working with the watershed?
So there's one of the things we're blessed with in this area is the number of nonprofit organizations and groups and clubs and internships and those sorts of things. So there really is endless opportunities. You guys have opportunities at your school. There's opportunities to get involved in some of the groups. So I really think it's just people can go and seek some of those opportunities out, but there's plenty of things that are here that are local that'll get you in, and then you'll figure out what you're excited about.
So how do you see your career evolving over time, and what skills do you think are going to be needed?
I think everything changes all the time, right? And whether it's policy stuff that we're working on or climate things, maybe the water levels were really high after really low periods, and you really never know what we're going to get. So one of the things that we have to do is constantly adapt and look at what are we facing right now, and how do we want to attempt to mitigate that problem, but also think about what's going to happen the next time this problem comes up. So water levels being cyclical, thinking about now water levels are going to go down and how are we going to deal with that. So I think there's this ability to adapt to what's happening right now, but also recognizing that we need policies and procedures and things in place so that in the future when things are happening or when we're getting high water levels, we've thought about that in our planning and that kind of stuff. So there really is sort of that ability for short-term and long-term thinking, but you always need to be doing both.
What are some unconventional pathways that could lead you to this career?
Honestly, I think even just being outside, right? Go fishing, go for a hike. If that's not something that your family does, join other families. I had a lot of friends who would come with us when we went camping and did things like that. It really is about understanding your appreciation, right? So the more you get out there and the more you see it, the more connected you feel to it and the more you want to help protect it. So, I mean, it may sound like, I don't know if it's unconventional, but I really think just being able to get outside, which is so important. We've seen that so much more, especially in the last year with all that we've been dealing with, and, being able to get outside and enjoy nature and all the health benefits and things that have, and then feeling that ownership to protect it.
Absolutely.
So can you just describe how the watershed works?
Yeah, so it's funny when we talk about how we work in the watershed, everybody assumes we work in the bay and we really don't. So a watershed is actually the land that surrounds the water. So we have everywhere from Northport to the Boardman River and the entire chain of lakes, all of that land, anytime water lands on there and goes to the nearest water body, that's what a watershed is. So when you're working on watershed issues, you're actually working on the land that's surrounding the water and trying to protect the water by working on the land.
So what are some harmful general things that are elements that could hurt the watershed?
So the biggest threats to the water are actually sediments and nutrients, and those things happen through stormwater. So where we live, the majority of our stormwater, so anything that lands on the ground, especially on parking lots and impervious surfaces, usually gets into a pipe and gets piped right out into the bay. And so the biggest threats are all of the things that stormwater is picking up along the way. So oil from your car, the sediment from after we have all the snow melt and stuff, all the stuff that's in there, the road salts, all of those things. So it's really stormwater itself in these, especially in our urban core, are the thing that's really the biggest threats that we have to the bay.
So you mentioned turning off the water. Are there other things that the general public can do to help protect the watershed?
Yeah, I think understanding your connection to water, so even if you don't live on the water, you're still connected to it. We talked about what a watershed is. So if you have the ability on your property to have things like a rain barrel, or even install a rain garden, or things that you can do to reuse water in your own property, or just think about things. If we have a lot of septic systems and folks who are on wells, so to recognize, how to properly maintain your septic system and what you should and shouldn't be putting in your septic system. So just even in your own property, taking a look at your house and saying, how am I washing my car? Where's the soap going for that? What am I putting down my drain and what's getting in my septic system? How am I reusing some of the water that's falling off of my roof to water my plants? So you really can do those things, and if everybody's doing those things on their properties, then it really does make a big difference.
And just kind of to reiterate, is there anything else that the public should know about preserving the watershed?
I think it's important for everybody to remember that the water belongs to everybody. And so, there are people who, actively go out and try to protect it and things like that, but really, because it's all of our shared resources, it's everybody's responsibility. We can all do our part, big or small, but in order for us to enjoy one of the main reasons why we live here, it is important for folks to feel that connection and to understand that it may look beautiful, but if it's going to look beautiful in 100 years, we really need to be having some work that we need to be doing right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you so much. And we're so excited to be exploring environmental careers at Newtons Road. And you'll be able to find more about these careers by going to newtonsroad.org. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.